Hello, and welcome back to my channel. Are you ready? Are you ready for this piping hot tea segment? I hope you have your listening ears on. Come on in, come on in. Welcome to Country Conversations with Diva D. Let's get it popping, okay? Um, how you doing? In honor of Mother Winter Child. This damn Katt Williams. He done bunt up these internet streets, these YouTube streets, these comedian streets, or whatever you want to call it. And so has little Boosie, bad ass, no ass, giving ass. Okay? Now let me just say, I am quite disappointed in his behavior. Because word on the streets is that he was not happy with the kissing scene in The Color Purple. I'm just going to say this. T.S. Madison, you ate and you gave. But I'm going to tell you is one thing about Christian, heterosexual, or any religious type of heterosexual male or female. If they were raised in the church, it ain't a whole lot you can do to convince them that there is a hell and that homosexual, transsexual people don't belong in it. I'm just keeping it 100. Now, this is what I never understood growing up. Now, growing up, I'll say this. I've already said when we were having a discussion about what was a woman and what wasn't a woman, and I don't particularly care for putting cis in front of my name. No, we'll say you are a transgendered woman, and I respect your title. I'm a natural born woman. Respect my title. You don't have to put cisgender in front of my name. Okay? That's just how I feel about it. I ain't changing it. However, I do not tolerate or accept homophobia. Nor do I tolerate or accept black men's agenda with making our children hypersexual. Every teenage boy that I went to school with were encouraged by an older male to sleep with an older woman. So when I started my DHS journey, when I tell you it was already hard enough to convince the system, because in a lot of black homes is what happens in this home stay in this home, right? So what happened with a lot of homosexual families is that if the child was found, especially the males, the homosexual uncle or foster care parent that was there to provide for the children, it would sometimes be difficult to place children in their home if there was foster parent. Now, I was lucky to have the greatest foster parent, a gay male, and he took in a homosexual teenager whose parents had put her out. Okay. I said all that to say we are so into protecting males in the black community that we allow them almost free reign to pimp out their children, sons in particular, having them sleep with older women, and protect child esters, okay? You know what I mean. So protective of them. I could tell you one case that I had. You know, I'm a DHS social worker, so I can give you the real and the raw about that. And I'm gonna barely in these pipe and hot teas give you examples of what I mean. I had a family, right? The father had been accused of actually abusing his daughter. Okay. We always erred on the side of caution. We always believe the victim. However, this child was placed back in that home because they had an attorney. A lot of people dragged us as DHS social workers. No, we fought the case. But you also, as DHS social workers, have to fight the judges. The judges and the legal system. And a lot of times with these cases, even with WAPE, it was a situation of their word against his word, especially in the home. And it was so weird doing those home visits, knowing that I felt in my gut that he had been arresting her. Okay. But, you know, that was the situation where I just had to deal with it. That was the only protection that I had for her, was to, you know, just do those home visits. I don't have any idea what he was doing to her when I left, because I only had to visit the home 3 times a week. But I said that to say he was protected, as many males are protected in our community. And it's the transgendered woman who's the problem. Whoo, this is foolishness. Now, I vow to also be an advocate for boys. I vow to take little boys that were encouraged by their dads to sleep with these older women. No problem with that. But if you gay, you're going to hell. You can tell their religion is patriarchal because it is made for men. If you're gay, you're going to hell. But if you are a atheist, you can be forgiven. If you are racist, you can be forgiven. Oh, but if you gay, it's like it's the worst sin. You know why? Because it's the worst sin. I'm going to tell you why. I'll tell you why as a religious person. You know what they say, right? Because that stops the generation. And what it say in our Bible, it say be fruitful and multiply. And you can't be fruitful and multiply if you is gay. Okay? So, foolishness. Okay? Foolishness. But we abide by the rules in this book. Okay? So the only way you can repent if you are gay is if you stop being gay. You can still be an errorist. And you can still be an atheist. And you can still be a Western. Those things are forgiven. But like I said, I vowed that I would also remove young men from the homes of these males who encourage their children to sleep with older women. Or I also vowed that I did not discriminate. Teacher, lawyer, doctor, whatever. A lot of times it would be these teachers who would be, you know, molesting these boys. I never did understand how come they would get less time than men who arrested. Now that's one thing that is gender weird to me. Now, women do get far, far, far less time when they are Western boys than if men and found out and proven a Western girl. It is a weird dynamic, but that's patriarchy. And Lil Boosie, we need to stop talking about him. That's the most ignorant, foolish statement that I've ever heard of. That he walked out the theater with his 9-year-old child because it was a homosexual kiss. A kiss between lesbians. A kiss between lesbians that even though I did not read the book, knew that was in there. Does this idiot even know that both movies, the musical and the first movie made in 84, 85, does he understand that these books were written or these movies was written based on that book, and the inside of that book they have a homosexual relationship? And it is widely rumored that Alice Walker herself was bisexual. Rumored, allegedly. No proof. I'm just saying. That's what the word is in the book streets, okay? I have no idea. But that doesn't mean that it's not out there. We need to be careful and mindful of who we let be famous. Because that man has a voice. He is using his voice. And the amount of support that he receives from Black women, to me, is astounding. Right? If we are to believe religion, right, and we support someone in our family who is homosexual, what that got to do with heaven or hell for us? If you're not participating in the act, why would you go to hell? So what's the problem about leaving your children in the home instead of putting them out in the streets? Because what happened in that show, Pose, was very real. It was very real, even in this very, very small town that I live in. And speaking of very, very small town, hell, it's probably worse because you can't get a Southern Black Christian out no Bible. That ain't what you finna do. I said finna. I told y'all this kind of conversation. We're going to keep it 100 over here. But if you choose to abide by the Bible, why don't you choose to abide by the part where it says that males cannot commit adultery too? Right? It was a Muslim woman that had to leave her village and flee to the United States. And she told her story because she was gaped, right? And it's no telling how many women that happened to. She was gaped, and they were literally talking about stoning her, right? Now, this is one part of the United States that I love when they, quote unquote, do their humanitarian efforts. When they went in and got her and she told her story. That is wild. And that's just like the massive amount of women who stay with men who cheat on them. If you are a religious woman, how come it's okay for him to go out and cheat and him to be forgiven? And if you even bat an eye at another man, you are left behind, right? That's why I told Papoose, come on, Pat. I don't think you were always faithful to Remy. Now, I do believe you are one of the better men. I said better, not best. Okay? You are still in the hip-hop world. Okay? I've never understood that about religion, where you still continue to be a wife to a man that has several outside children and proof that he has. Weird to me. But I said all that to say we're going to have to change our thinking in regards to human beings, because if a gay person or a transgender woman hasn't done anything, or male hasn't done anything to me personally, what the hell they got to do with me? What they do in their bedroom, who they love, blase, 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 moving on, so forth and so on. And like I said, if I was religious, which I am not, when I was religious, I didn't judge them. It wasn't my place to judge them, and I didn't fear hell for supporting. I didn't. And me and a family member of mine butt heads all the time about our gay relative. And I said what I said on that because I support. She does not. That's not the way God designed it. Well, how did God design it? God designed us to take a boost by a man. He designed that. Be emotionally and mentally abused. That was by design. Us to stay in an adulterous relationship. That was designed. No, the Bible says commit adultery. It don't say man or woman. Child, I can't make this stuff up. Move right along. Let's talk about, I don't want to be on here too long with this piping hot tea. I'm going off the dome, okay? We're going to talk about Katt, my friend. Now, Katt touched on many issues, and I'm going to try to, by memory, remember them all. He touched on teachers not receiving equal pay. So he mixed that in with taking up for Taraji. We all know that Taraji is in a battle of her life trying to get equal pay from this patriarchal racist society, right? And then he said not only are Black actresses not being paid their worth, teachers are not being paid their worth either. Teachers teach actors to be actors, okay? And I 100% agree with Katt there. It's not many things that I disagree with him on, but I do. Let's go down the list, okay? He talked about Mark Curry and Steve Harvey. Now, I've been telling y'all what a trash ass individual Steve Harvey is. I don't know him from a can of paint, but again, I am indeed a Scorpio. And you can say what you want to say about Scorpios and how we are high sexually intrigued or whatever, but we are very, very intuitive. And I have not met one Scorpio that can read a motherfucker just by looking at them, you know, and just by hearing stories about them. Everybody ain't lying on you, Hot Top Fade. Everybody's not lying on you. And I know that you could not help but to be jealous of Bernie Mac because Bernie Mac was Bernie motherfucking Mac. Okay? Ain't no doubt about that. I've told you many, many, many times in these videos that will forever and always, above all other comedians, be my favorite. Nobody can touch Bernie Mac in my eyes. And that was before he passed away. That was after he passed away. That was during Richard Pryor. When I found Bernie Mac, when I heard about Bernie Mac, that was my guy. Me and my sister growing up, once we discovered Def Comedy Jam, that would be our whole entire Saturday. Okay? Us watching back-to-back episodes of Def Comedy Jam. So prior to me coming up in the 2000s, because I started falling off from it because I didn't really watch Comedy View like that, but my sister continued. And she loved Ricky Smiley. Okay? We're going to get to him. Now, Ricky Smiley is a cute dog. Okay. And so is Steve. Now, Cedric is a couple. So I'm not sure where all this closeness came in with them. Might have been the Kings of Comedy tour and all that good stuff. Okay. I'm going to get to Cedric. Let's stay on Steve for a minute. Now, the first time I heard about this is not hearsay, but I'm going to say allegedly. The first time I heard about Mark Curry and Steve, it was probably about 17 or 16. I'm going to say closer to in between there because I know I was pregnant with my daughter. And he had some interview, and I can't remember where that interview was, but I can tell you what he indeed did say. Mark Curry. Now, a lot of people don't remember Mark from his shows, but Mark used to play on several shows. And he started, from my memory, of course, in stand-up, but his first show, getting first shows, he was on Nickelodeon shows and Disney shows. Okay, that's what I see him the most from prior to Mr. Cooper. Now, I was a major fan of Mr. Cooper. Love the show. Okay, it was in TGI Friday. If you remember TGI Friday, you remember he had an awesome lineup. Then they moved him to Wednesday nights, and when they moved him to Wednesday night, that show became less popular, and then they moved in his cousin, quote unquote, Nicole, and then with Nicole, Raven-Symoné came with that. But the show just was jumping the shark at that point after Dawn Lewis left. But that's neither here nor there. He had an ABC show. This is prior to Steve. Now, as my memory is serving me, Steve was doing Showtime at the Apollo. Steve was whack, okay? I didn't care for him as a host. My favorite host on Showtime at the Apollo, I believe it was one of the Tory boys. I can't remember which one. But either Joe or Guy. That was my thing for that. But Def Comedy Jam. We ran into Bernie Mac. We run into Steve. Running the Cat. All these cats, as they would say. Martin, all of them. Those are the Def Comedy Jams guys for me. And by that time, Eddie Murphy was in the stratosphere, so I don't ever remember him appearing on Def Comedy Jam because, Eddie did Raw, and that was the extent of me enjoying his comedy. But I believe Katt when Katt said that Steve would always say he didn't want to be in movies. But you could tell that he did. Couldn't he act? Well, I do recall that he was in one movie, and right along with him, that was Cedric. And I believe that was Johnson Family Vacation. He did the movie Think Like a Man. Okay. We can run down a decent discography. Okay. That's not the issue. I believe Mark Curry. At first, I didn't. Until I started hearing stories about him really admitting to this very same interviewer who interviewed Katt, Shay Shay, in the Shay Shay Club, that he could not help but to be jealous, in a way, envious, I would say. Let's dress it up and make it cute, of Bernie Mac. See, because Bernie Mac was stand-up, okay? And when Bernie Mac got his show, and the show was a hit as well, Steve couldn't handle that. Steve had his Steve Harvey show, but according to Mark and according to Katt, this show was based on Mark Curry. His show, Mr. Cooper. Mr. Cooper on a major network. If you recall, the Steve Harvey show was on the WB. But I liked both shows, okay? But that was when WB was primarily a black network. And his show actually brought out the WB network, but it wasn't on the Big Three, because the Big Three in the 90s was the lick. If you got a show on the Big Three, then you had made it. And that's where Mark was. So all this He's jealous of them. Katt is. No, Katt's telling the truth. So you get his rebuttal. You get Steve's rebuttal to Mark. He needs to move on. But did you say he was lying? No, you did not. Okay. This man is a one-man wrecking machine. He's attacking them individually, but they're ganging up on him through their little comments, okay? So then you get Katt versus Ricky. Their major issue is that Ricky plays Miss Bernice. Katt says, which right at this point, and you know what, I would hate if this comes out just like him talking about these guys dating high yellow women, that then we remember that he dated Hazel Eve and he contradicted himself there. But we'll go, like I said, piece by piece. If we can recall, a lot of black male comedians dress up like women. And he said that Tyler Perry and Ricky couldn't get a job to save their lives if they didn't dress like women. I don't recall Katt ever doing that though. He has a point there. Now, to me, this does not bother me. I don't know of an agenda there with males wearing dresses and them being funnier in those dresses. But honey, Tyler Perry is funnier when he's Madea. And when he's Madea and when he's not Madea, it's hard for us not to see him as not being Madea. So he has a point there. The only time I laugh at Ricky Smiley is when he's Miss Bernice. When he's talking on his talk show, he tries to be so religious and so judgmental and so on the system side, he gets on my nerve. You can't say anything bad about Steve Harvey on his show. So that to me shows that there is some kind of truth to what Katt is saying, because they're very protective of each other. So that's Katt. I'll cover Katt versus Ricky, Katt versus Steve. And really Steve versus everybody, because as Katt says, he has no real friends in Hollywood other than these little boys that he has taken under his wing per se and kind of pimped them out. Because just remember, before Cedric got the neighborhood, everything that he did movie-wise was attached to Steve, or television-wise was attached to Steve. Now I take that back. I have to go over my history well. Let's go back. He did have the Soul Man. Not on a major network though, but again, they all in this little circle together. There's no doubt about that. He's telling the truth about that. I'm going, like I said, off the dome on my interaction with these guys as me being a fan. Now, I'm going to tell you, Cedric the Entertainer landed in my top 5. My top 5 comedians included Bernie Mac. Definitely not Steve. Okay, but Bernie Mac was always my number one. Some more. Back then, Chris Rock. Chris Rock was funny to me, because I liked him doing the political jokes and stuff like that. But then I realized that, he was somewhat problematic. Okay. And for me, Martin Lawrence was in my top 5 too. He addresses Martin. He addresses Martin dressing up, being successful in Big Mama's house, or Big Mama, whatever it was, having to dress like a mom. Now, like I said, if these roles might bother me, but me as a woman seeing these guys in these dresses, I thought none of that. I still thought they were heterosexual. It didn't, run across my mind at all that they weren't heterosexual just because they were playing women. I mean, but he did have a point. You know, why did Martin have to dress up like a woman to be an FBI agent? Now, this interview was long. I'm just going to tell you this. And like I said, I'm trying to condense this into a pipe hot tea because I watched the whole interview. Oh, baby. He said a lot. Okay, so I'm just trying to sum it up. Okay, so I did Katt versus Rick. Now it's time for me to do Katt versus Cedric. Because these were the most important verses, okay? He called. He said that Cedric the Entertainer was like a little fat walrus. Oh my goodness. And he basically said that that is a rite of passage for these guys who make Hollywood. Now remember, Katt is independent. Okay? Katt is taking on all these fat cats per se and has no protection. You know that this man is about to be on a blacklist, and then you know if Oprah jumps in, it's over. It's over for Katt. But I will continue to support Katt as a comedian because, like I said, I believe he's telling the truth. Yes, he has some inconsistencies there. That normally happens when you outing somebody for their works. But I peeped Steve a long time ago, so he's number one person that I peeped. But baby, not Sadie, not my Sadie Bear. Why Sadie Bear? Baby, that joke that Katt is complaining about, that is what landed Cedric in my top 5. I am so disappointed. You over there stealing jokes, Cedric the Entertainer? And as he said, if you're going to be Cedric the Entertainer, you're supposed to be an all-around entertainer. You're supposed to be able to sing, dance, and act. And you cannot do either one of them. And your comedy shows didn't make it to not only Netflix or Tubi. Your shows didn't make it to Netflix or Tubi, fat nigga. Oh, boy. Oh, he also talked about between him and Ricky about the Magic Mike thing. And he added the pimp element and you know, that the role was originally supposed to be for Ricky Smiley. Ricky Smiley responded and said that that was the best thing for that role, the Magic Mike role, or Magic Money Mike, or whatever it was. With magic, I say that magic thing, and Glory keeps telling my sister. She keeps telling me, "Look, girl, it's not Magic Money Mike. It's." I said, "Girl, I'm going by Terry Crews calling him magically delicious." But anyway, Money Mike or whatever it is, that role was supposed to be Ricky Smiley's role. But Katt is right. He brought life to it. And I honestly believe that after Chris Tucker left the Friday franchise, I do believe that that role that he played as with the pimp element in, I do agree with him. I believe the movie was made successful by him because it sure wasn't made successful by Day Day, aka Mike Epps. Now I enjoyed Mike Epps on the Upshaws, but not much else. Okay, like I said, you got to bust my gut in order for me to think you are a great comedian. And Katt busts my gut. Katt is right up there with Bernie in stand-up, baby. He keeps you entertained with every joke. Every now and then I might chuckle at Ricky when he's on stage. Chuckle. But tears, laughing till I cry. Katt on that. Then Katt said, "Let me tell you something, motherfucker." He was talking about Michael Blackson playing like he's an African, and he is African. And then Michael Blackson had enough nerve to come back what he said and have a verses and say that he just wants to be relevant again. Baby, he stays relevant. Katt will always be relevant. You, on the other hand, my friend, not so much. I don't think you funny, and I don't think it's funny how you make fun of being an African. Yes, I laughed at you, and I had more than a chuckle when you were in Coming to America too. That's it. That's it for me on you. You shouldn't even open your mouth to even try to spray Katt Williams. Baby, you out your league for real, for real. You and the funny maid women that you all have. And Katt says you have. Says like a little group of you go get these very light-skinned women and they all look just alike and can't open their mouths. Have you ever seen them do an interview? Can they even talk? I can't. Katt said they can't talk. They all have the same pattern. They all have the same little look. I'm through. See, I'm laughing already, and I'm just talking about Katt, okay? He's hilarious. It is what it is. So now I'm done. Okay. This is the last one I'm gonna do because he had a versus against everybody, but I'm doing the top people who he had his verses against. Okay, he had issues with Kevin Hart. He said, how Kevin Hart lied about being from Los Angeles, again his start in Los Angeles, had one movie started before he even was known, and then have comedy shows as well, movies, without being involved with these quote unquote gatekeepers. If you look back on it and you think about it, I don't recall seeing Kevin Hart on Def Comedy Jam or either a Comic View before he did Soul Plane. I did not know who that little small man was, and I thought he was weird, but the movie Soul Plane was funny to me. Even though it got panned, it was funny to me because of the surrounding characters, not him per se. Same thing with Real Husbands of Hollywood. That's the only thing I've ever liked Kevin Hart in. Kevin Hart is not funny to me. He's funny-ish, but not funny. Then you look back on all these comedians that have been blackballed, like Dave Chappelle. Now Katt. Katt said he's tired though. Katt gonna run down on him. And about 70, nope, more than that. 85. More than that. I 90.999% believe Katt. Now that's enough to pass the DNA test. Because I never forget. Off subject, but on subject. It was a DNA test on paternity court, and this dude, he was 89.999% found to be the father. See, because most of the time men want to see 99.999%. But he was 89.999%. But he still was determined to be the father. He was like, that ain't my baby. I think anything over, say 60%, you are the father. But same thing with Katt. Anything over 60% for me, he is telling the truth. I've always, for years, side-eyed Steve. Ricky Smiley, I was kind of shocked about that because Ricky all up in the Bible, made like he all Christian. And don't treat people wrong or treat people he treat people the way they want to be treated. But Katt is given to me. He's a father. And all that to me is real. I do not see him lying about taking in and adopting these children. And, I have soft spot for foster parents, especially when, there are so many children in the system. And he took in some nieces, some nephews, foster kids. Come on, you got to commend him for that. Even though there is a lot of people out there, there's a lot of people out there who do not believe this man. Okay? He talked about Jonathan Majors. Okay. I wanted to keep it on the comedian side. I'm very disappointed. Said I believe he stole the joke. I have on my Facebook page the joke, and being that I know that joke backwards and forward, it is. I don't care what anybody say. He said verbatim. Okay, maybe he missed a little points here and there. It's not verbatim per se, but the joke is so similar that you cannot deny that he stole the joke. Come on, people. Spaceship, the whole backing up with the cool hand. Girl, stop. We're not going to play this game. We're not going to play semantics. It's a stolen joke, period. In my opinion, it is what it is on that. And with that, I'm with Katt. I think he's telling the truth. I'm going to chunk them up. I hope you enjoy this piping hot tea as much as I enjoy bringing it to you. Come on in. This is Country Conversations with DVD. And as I do when I close, I'm going to chunk them up. Juicy.